Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here. Xur has arrived in the EDZ. It is May 6th, so he will be here through Monday the 10th. And he's in the Winding Cove on EDZ, so let's see what he's got to offer. Alright, so for the weapon we have Skyburners Oath. It is a scout rifle, solar. Get ready for solar 3.0. Probably next season, at least that's what everybody thinks. You've got a perk here that is full auto, does extra damage to Cabal, penetrates failing shields. Also, it lobs large explosive seeking slugs when you're firing from the hip. This is actually going to have good airborne accuracy, hence it's literally Skyburners Oath by name. So if you don't have this, it could be very cool for certain builds, definitely airborne accuracy, kind of death from above situation. If you don't have it, it is an old weapon. You probably do, but if you're a newer player especially, pick this thing up, add it to your collections. Could have some potential next season. Don't miss this. For the hunters, we've got the Celestial Nighthawk. Basically, it modifies Golden Gun to fire a single high damage shot. Eliminate enemies by the shot explode and grants you super energy back. So the more enemies you kill, the more super energy that will return. But basically, this is the one big DPS shot that you can get. You've got 17 of mobility, good for hunter. Resilience, less beneficial for a hunter, but that is going to give you some stability depending on your playstyle. 2 in recovery does hurt this one, I'll be honest, just because everybody does tend to want recovery. Especially in PvE, recovery is going to help you. Resilience, less so. So I'd love to see those two stats flipped, but, you know, 10 in discipline, 14 in intellect, 7 in strength. If you don't have this, for sure buy it. It's actually decent, got decent chunk of mobility, decent abilities. The only thing it's really missing is recovery. Overall, if you don't own this, buy it. And this is not a bad one compared to what you may have as well, because 65 total, decent mobility, already off to a pretty good start. All right, hunters, this is your time. Buy this chest, like, absolutely. 14 in resilience, good for barricades, good for your class ability, and you're going to get a little bonus to flinch resistance and stuff like that next season. 17 in recovery, 14 in intellect, 14 in strength. The only thing it's really missing is discipline. If the intellect was in discipline, it'd probably be perfect. But basically, use an ability, grenade, melee, or barricade, empowers the other two abilities. Empowered means they have faster regen, melees and grenades do more damage, and barricades have more hit points. You can get this cycle going all the time with Void 3.0. It works really, really well. It's pretty much what I've been running all season. And on top of that, a 65 stat roll. I may pick this one up and actually get rid of the one I've been using. So please, Titans, buy this chest piece. It's universal for any subclass. Pick it up. I promise you it can be used pretty much anywhere. So do not miss this one. This is a must buy. For the Warlocks, this one's not exactly God tier right now, but it is one that I feel like either could get a little nudge in the right direction later on. Powered melee final blows grant a burst of energy that weakens nearby targets. Weakening is now an effective Void 3.0, so if you build into that, it could have some benefits. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the radius of the burst and the length of the weakening effect. So if you do get a finisher on, say, a champion, you'll get this effect to many things around you. Stats are 61. It's okay. It is powered melee, so you got 14 in strength. Not a bad thing. Recovery at 9. If it's masterworked, it would be at least double digits. The high mobility, some people may like that just for literally movement. Resilience isn't too much, but a little wasted. Low discipline kind of hurts the Warlock a little bit because I know you guys like your grenades. It is a 61 and not a god tier stat roll. Overall, if you don't have this, there are worse ones that you could pick up. And if you don't have it, it's always good to complete your collection with at least something in the 60s. Not the worst stat roll either, but by far not the best either. For the exotic rolls on Hawkmoon, we've got full bore, so big booster range, less stability. You've got alloy mag always. You've got killing wind, final blows with mobility, weapon range, and short duration. So if you are going for range, this might be your guy. And also greatly controlled recoil, maybe helping some of that stability. If you don't have Hawkmoon, this one may be okay. I'm not sure killing wind is the god roll though. So again, spend your very expensive resources as you choose. As for Dead Man's Tale, you've got polygonal rifling for stability. High caliber rounds I know is highly sought after for range. Moving target, so increased movement speed and target acquisition while aiming down sights. And then, of course, if you've got stability and handling as well. Not the god roll, I don't think, because whether it's Vorpal or other things that people are looking for, like high caliber Vorpal, if it's your playstyle and maybe you're looking for another one and you've got the resources, but I don't know if, again, this is the god roll. High caliber is good, and this one could theoretically have some potential in PvP. I just don't know if this is worth all the resources that it's going to cost for, say, an extra roll. Just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you guys think this one is worth the spend of all the resources with the roll that it's got. All right, for your legendary weapons, you have a couple options here that you might want. One, Last Perdition. There are not a lot of Void Pulse Rifles in the game at all right now, and especially as you're running through certain builds and certain requirements, you may be lacking in a Void Pulse Rifle. So if you don't have one, Rangefinder Kill Clip, not a bad way to go. A little more range on a 390, which is an adaptive frame. Kill Clip, never a bad way to go. Get a kill, get a reload, get some more damage. You can go Flared Magwell, either of the scopes. Handling on it, not a bad, like, probably going to feel pretty snappy little pulse rifle here in Void. So if you don't have a Void pulse rifle, sometimes they're one that I know people could be lacking in, pick this one up. With the False Promises, I don't love 360 autos, but if you were in need of one, especially for kinetic, it's got a lot of range. You've got Overflow and Rampage, which are going to work really well in probably PvE situations. You've got Flared Magwell, slightly increased stability and reload, and then you've got Chambered Compensator, so it's going to be very controllable, pretty stable. Stability Masterwork. If you want to give up that stability and go crazy range, you could. I don't think that's necessary, though. But again, a decent role here for PvE if you're looking for this type of auto rifle and you don't have one. This weapon is more accurate when stationary and aiming down sights, slow firing, high damage. If you need that type of auto rifle, you might throw this in your vault. It's not a bad role if you're missing something in this category. Eternal Blazon, depending on your playstyle, you've got Slide Shot and Unrelenting, but mostly if you don't have an Arc Scout rifle, you could throw this in the mix, depending, multiple kills, getting you some health back, Slide Shot, reloading ammo, high caliber rounds have knock and also a little bit of range on it, and then you've got short or medium zoom scopes, giving up a little handling for some range, and you've got some stability on it. If you don't have an Arc Scout rifle, again, this is a good way to complete the collections. I've seen much worse rolls. Not god tier by any means with these two, but reasonable for depending on what you're using it for. The other four are not great. Outlaw, Ambitious Assassin, not really going to be doing too much there. Tireless and On Guard, no thank you. Slide Shot and Demolitionist, very specific use case, if even on that one. And even a Field Prep Multi-Kill Clip sounds okay with more reserves and a little bonus damage on reloads. Because you are going to reload all the time. So if you do get a kill and you get a reload, you could get some more damage. Looking for generally Spike or Blinding in this column, which usually just takes away from Grenade Launcher. So if it doesn't have one of those, you're kind of lacking in what's worthwhile. For the Titan armor, you've got a 55 that's skippable, 61 in the chest, mobility, resilience, just lacking in recovery and discipline. Can't really recommend that one. If you like the role, that's your call, but recovery is something you want. Discipline for grenades is going to be important. Personally, if I'm building into stats, mobility, not so much. Helm, you got mobility, resilience. Again, very similar role here if you're leaning into this, but these are both 61s, not exactly god rolls. Now we do have a 65. Very high in resilience for a Titan, which if you're leaning into that barricade build could be a good thing. Some recovery and discipline are pretty low, but intellect and some strength. It's a 65 total roll, and it's a high spike with some intellect and very high in resilience. So if you're going for a resilience build, this could be a spike you need for your build. The only one for the Warlocks that I would recommend looking at is the Gauntlets. Everything else is you got 58. While it's 60, it's really high in resilience. And then 58, it's just not even a 60. But a 66 stat roll with 14 recovery. You like mobility in your build, you got a good spike there and very high in strength. So if you want spiky armor, trying to work on, very high stat rolls in certain places, very high tiers, this could be one to hold on to, maybe help in some of those, certain builds that you're going for. A 66 with high spikes, not one to, completely dismiss. For the Hunters, you've got Gauntlets with a 64. You got some mobility, got some recovery. Masterwork any of these except Discipline, and you're in double digits. High strength and some resilience. If you're leaning into a bit of resilience, maybe you're looking for some of that flinch reduction, a little bit of that extra stability. That could be something that helps you if you're leaning into that build, but high strength. Some mobility for Hunter, not so bad, and it's a total of 64. You've got a 61 here, okay, a spike in discipline, and a 61 pretty much, well-rounded with no mobility, unfortunately, which hurts a Hunter, and then a 59 here, not really worth it. Last couple of reminders, Freelance Trials is this weekend. The map is supposed to be Altar of Flame. Apparently, there are some people not getting the correct map, but you also have double reputation this weekend as well. So my advice is there's only a couple weekends left of Trials. There's only a certain amount of time to get either a messenger role that you may want to try and go for, or a Shira's Wrath if you're looking for one of those. And again, when it's double points and it's freelance, it's the best time for somebody to jump in, even a solo player like me, and get some time in Trials. So don't forget that freelance and double points are this weekend. Final thing is, for Guardian Games, the competitive playlist is now live. I'm going to jump into this and see what the thresholds are like to go for. I also saw something on Twitter where some people are getting the new SMG, the title, to drop with double perks in maybe the 3rd and 4th column. Maybe it's a chance while competitive is on. We'll just have to see. I will let you guys know more there, but competitive playlist is live until Xur and weekly reset happens on Tuesday. But that pretty much wraps it up. So that is your weekend. You got Trials, Freelance active, you've got competitive playlist, and Xur is on the EDZ with some decent stuff. I would recommend. Probably everybody, I think, has something that you potentially want to pick up in there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like below. Leave a comment if I missed shouting out something that you guys think I should have. You guys can find me on Twitch or Twitter. It's Ebontis right there. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. And make sure you guys check out my video for Guardian Games, basically an ultimate guide to everything. You guys will watch that video. It's a nice way to support the channel. Also, you'll hopefully find something in there that's useful to you, or if somebody's lost in Guardian Games, send them to that video. So the link will be in the description and popping up probably right now. So thank you guys very much. I'll see you in the next one.